This video showcases the rarest film clips from 1874 to 1911, offering a unique look into a world that has long since vanished. From the first moving images to the streets of New York, get ready to step back in time and witness the early days of cinema. Passage to Venus. In 1874, French astronomer Pierre-Jules César Janssen set out to record the rare transit of Venus across the Sun. Using a photographic revolver he designed to capture the event in a series of images, Janssen made what is considered the oldest surviving film footage. Although only fragments remain, these few fuzzy frames represent the birth of astrophotography and the innovative spirit that would soon lead to the invention of motion pictures. The Roundhay Garden scene. This short and sweet clip from 1888 holds the Guinness World Record for oldest surviving film. It was shot by French inventor Louis Leprin in the garden of his wife's family home in Roundhay, Leeds. The silent movie shows Leprince's mother-in-law Sarah Whitley, his father-in-law Joseph, and Annie Hartley walking around the garden, laughing and enjoying a sunny day. Leprince used his single-lens camera and Eastman's paper film to capture the joyful 2 seconds, not realizing it would be a landmark in the history of filmmaking. Lumière workers leaving factory. In 1895, the Lumière brothers, Auguste and Louis, unveiled their groundbreaking invention, the cinematograph. Part film camera, part projector, and part developer, it revolutionized the way movies were made and shown. One of the earliest films they made with it was this 46-second clip of workers leaving the Lumière factory in Lyon, France. The large group of mostly female workers in long skirts and male workers in suits and hats spills out of the factory doors and gates, some walking bicycles, some hurrying along. The Lumières knew they were onto something extraordinary when they showed the film to a paying audience a few months later, effectively launching the cinema as we know it. Olympics. Imagine being among the 241 athletes from 14 nations who gathered in Athens in 1896 for the very first modern Olympics. Without the fanfare and high-tech facilities of today's games, these early Olympics competed in 43 events, cheered on by crowds of up to 80,000 in the Panathenaic Stadium. This rare footage shows us tantalizing glimpses of those historic games. Gymnasts performing acrobatics on the parallel bars in white tights, runners sprinting down a cinder track, and a field of competitors ready to start a race crouched down without starting blocks. It's a fascinating look at the humble beginnings of what would grow into a global phenomenon. Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat, one of the most iconic early films, the Lumière brothers' Arrival of a Train at La Ciotat, showcased the astonishing realism of their new invention. The 50-second silent clip depicts a steam locomotive pulling into the station at the French coastal town of La Ciotat. As the train gets closer, growing larger in the frame, it almost feels like it could barrel right through the screen. Legend has it that audiences were so startled by this novel perspective that some screamed and ran to the back of the room. While this tale may be exaggerated, it speaks to the immersive power of the new medium of film. Early roller coaster Britain. British filmmaker Robert Paul was a contemporary of the Lumière brothers and a major innovator in his own right. In 1898, he took his camera to Blackpool Pleasure Beach to capture the thrills of the Switchback Railway, an early roller coaster. The resulting film puts the viewer right in the front seat of the ride. As the car full of passengers in suits and fancy hats crests the peaks and rushes down the dips of the track, you can almost feel the rush of wind and the lurch in your stomach. It's a visceral reminder of the timeless appeal of amusement park rides and a glimpse into a time when safety regulations were much more lax. A trip through Paris of France, the Lumière brothers took their camera to the streets of Paris in the late 1890s to capture the hustle and bustle of daily life in the City of Light. In this clip, we ride along on a horse-drawn carriage as it navigates the busy boulevards. We pass by pedestrians out for a stroll in their Victorian finery, as well as early automobiles sharing the road with the horse-drawn conveyances. But the most striking sight is the moving sidewalk, or trottoir roulant, that glides along carrying passengers standing still as others walk alongside. It was a cutting-edge transportation innovation of the 1900 Paris Exposition, a precursor to the moving walkways we see today in airports. Lumière Brothers Films Night Part of the charm of the Lumière brothers' films is the way they captured candid moments of daily life, letting us feel like we're peeking through a window to the past. This compilation reel shows some of the delightful scenes they preserved. Women hanging laundry on a line strung between tenement buildings, children in knickers, and newsboy caps gleefully playing with a garden hose, sending arcs of water spraying everywhere. Perhaps the most famous clip shows a group of elegantly dressed men using a blanket to toss their friend up in the air, his legs flailing comically. These scenes, while mundane, were groundbreaking in their realism and their ability to transport audiences to a different time and place. Living Wigan. The early 1900s saw the rise of actuality films, short non-fiction films that captured real people and places. British filmmaking duo Saga Mitchell and James Kenyon were pioneers of this genre, travelling around England filming local life and special events. In this lively clip, we see the streets of Wigan, Lancashire filled with crowds celebrating the coronation of King Edward VII. The people are clearly enamoured with the novelty of being filmed, mugging for the camera, waving and laughing. At one point, a tram tries to nudge them out of the way with a blast of water, but they stand their ground, too excited to move. It's a charming slice of small-town life and the infectious joy of a community celebration. A trip down Market Street. In 1906, just days before a devastating earthquake, the Miles brothers filmed a 13-minute journey down San Francisco's Market Street from a cable car. The film captures the city's vibrant mix of cable cars, horse-drawn wagons, streetcars, and early automobiles, alongside pedestrians in suits, hats, and long skirts. Landmarks like the Ferry Building and Core Building appear, along with businesses soon to be reduced to rubble. This film serves as a haunting and priceless record of the city's final moments before disaster. London Olympics Games. The 1908 London Olympics marked several firsts, including a purpose-built stadium, an opening ceremony, and a duration of over 6 months. Rare footage from this landmark event shows a stark contrast to today's games. Runners in baggy shorts race on cinder tracks, while pole vaulters land in sand pits without cushioned mats. The women's archery competition features athletes in long, billowing dresses and wide-brimmed hats, their skirts grazing the grass as they aim their bows. This glimpse into the early Olympics highlights a time before the Games were transformed by commercialization and professionalism. A trip through New York City. In 1911, a Swedish film crew captured the bustling streets of New York City to showcase America's prosperity to potential immigrants. The footage takes us down Broadway, where horse-drawn carriages, streetcars, and early automobiles shared the road. Men in bowler hats and women in long dresses window shop and hurry along the sidewalks, while pushcart vendors and office workers add to the vibrant scene. With over 2 million residents, New York was even more densely populated than today, its streets humming with the energy of a city at its peak. We hope you've enjoyed this incredible journey through the early days of cinema with Unexplained Studios. Which of these fascinating film clips captivated you the most? Do you think the magic of movies has changed over time? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more explorations of the extraordinary.